A recent poll showed that the average American spent 2.5 months on their phone in 2024. It turns out that a lot of what we rely on our phones for is easy to replace with analog tools, but these tools are more than just alternatives to excessive phone use. By design, they encourage focus, presence, and creative thinking unbound from the linear form of the vertical screen. Without the constant pull of digital distractions, intentional living is the default rather than the exception. See, in the pocket of every modern citizen is a phone that's considered smart because it has more functions than the dumb phones of the past. Maps are no longer needed thanks to GPS systems, calculators are pre-installed to solve basic math problems, and when the power of our homes goes out, we have flashlights built in, eliminating the need to have a stockpile of AA batteries. Now don't get me wrong, I love that my phone is smart enough to correct my spelling when I fat finger a text response. But these functions that we rely on phones for come at a hidden cost. Most people I know would have no idea how to get home if their phone died 2 hours outside of town. Now, most would argue that you don't need to know, and they don't so long as they have their phone. Perhaps what makes smartphones so smart is they figured out how to make us dependent on them to live. When smartphones replace more than 25 tools of the past, keep in mind the hidden cost of your increasing dependence. One of the steepest fees is your time. The average American checks their phone 144 times a day, and I would wager that at least a quarter of those check-ins are to tell time. But it's never just time that you check for when you look at your phone. If there's a text notification, there's a high chance you'll take a moment to respond. Maybe you'll do a quick scan of your email and then pop on Instagram to see if you have any DMs. Next thing you know, 5 or 10 minutes are gone. And it's not a big deal until you realize this is happening 30 times a day, leading to a subtle siphoning of 2 hours. Because most people depend on their phones for something as crucial as time, they become habituated to looking at it more than necessary. The phone on its own is not evil. It's just a piece of machinery. But that machinery houses an environment of distraction, amusement, and impulse. The best gift I received in years was this watch my wife gave me. Immediately after putting it on, I realized how much I relied on my phone for such a basic need. With a watch, I could finally lose myself in reading, writing, and working without a single digital device nearby to pull me out of flow. It felt like I could breathe deeper and focus way longer. You don't need an expensive Rolex or even a watch at all. You can just get a cheap plastic clock on your desk or some funky old stopwatch that you just throw in your pocket. Any analog source of timekeeping will be much less distracting and remove some of your dependence on smartphones. Now, time management is a critical part of everyone's life, and the next tool I want to talk to you about allows you to plan at scale without a single app. And that's planners and calendars. In March of 2024, I went all in on a digital workflow. I had read Building a Second Brain by Tiago Forte, and I was enamored with the idea of digital tools giving me another brain. The one I had was struggling to keep up with weekly YouTube publishing. I spent over 100 hours building a custom Notion system that catered to my every need. I built a notes database filled with templates, tags, and checklists for processing. I had automation sequences and scheduling system and weekly planners. I had to-do lists, habit trackers, and logging procedures to keep me on track with my goals. The whole system was even gamified with experience points and a leveling system and a reward schedule to create the most optimized process I could conceive. But my optimism for its potential waned after a few months. Soon, I realized the reality of what I had created. 1,000 more reasons to look at my phone. But it also left me feeling disconnected from my creative work and left me craving something I could tangibly touch in reality. You lose some of the magic of creative work when it's all bits in a virtual world. Even worse, it was a massive time suck. The siren song of efficiency lured me in a trap of my own making. Maintaining and tinkering with the system became a daily labor, forcing me to reckon with reality. My digital brain was feeding on all my physical brain's energy. A pocket planner was the analog solution to my problems. I spent $20 on this moleskin planner that fits in my pocket, and I've never been more productive. In this tiny logbook, I log reading activities and writing activities. I track upcoming events and appointments with people. I write notes, I plan my workouts, and I schedule self-imposed deadlines. Every day, I flip through the pages to quickly review my goals, see where I'm in and out of alignment, and get after the day. It's low maintenance, it's portable, it's tangible, and best of all, it keeps me away from the virtual casino. There are no distractions in it, only a record of accomplishments. Now, most productivity systems don't require an app or digital devices to be successful. Seductive marketing and a well-funded creator economy do the legwork of convincing you otherwise. And I'll prove it with the next set of analog tools I use that replicates a productivity system most people assume you need an app for. Operating a one-person media company, which is what creators do, can be overwhelming. It involves a lot of moving parts. You gotta write, film, edit, design, publish, research. It's kind of a lot. And creating regular content for an audience requires you to be organized, methodical, and capable of managing multiple projects. In the 1940s, Toyota faced similar challenges, but at a much larger scale when they were manufacturing cars. To make their production cycles more efficient, they invented the Kanban Method. The idea is simple. A corkboard is divided into columns, each column representing a stage in the production cycle. And projects are represented by a note card that moves from column to column as it progresses through each stage of production. This made it easy for engineers to visualize the different stages that individual projects were in, and it does the same for me. I write an outline for a video on a note card and pin those ideas under the Q column. Then I choose an idea to write about and move it under the newsletter column. This card travels across the Corkboard Kanban system until it finds its final resting spot under the publish column. Sticky notes are helpful here because they allow me to attach checklists, notes, or due dates to the cards for additional information or context. All of these tangible steps make the creative process feel creative. I don't need Notion, Trello, or Milanote to have an efficient system. Plus, it's more fun pinning note cards to a corkboard than pushing a button on my phone screen. It works for Toyota, and it works for me. Now, I have a couple of honorable mentions. First up will be books. Reading a physical book encourages focus and reflection, the perfect environment for learning. Then there are notebooks. Journaling on an app just doesn't hit the same as an old-fashioned notebook. There's no ads and no subscriptions, just you and the page. And finally, conversation. I know it's not technically an analog technology, but it makes the list because people are chronically undervaluing its importance in their lives. Social media is fun for a few minutes, but there's nothing like seeing a person face to face and enjoying some banter with another human being. You can learn more about how I use notebooks to slow down time and live a more intentional life over here.